Now, if you remember when we were looking for that wire over the top of this pipe where we're going to be digging out, we had found it. It said it was roughly 3 foot down from where they have this line marked out here. So how I'm going to go about checking that is I have my laser set up down there, my receiver. I'm going to set the laser up on roughly where it said we had 3 foot, which is close enough for now. Maybe I can pick the receiver up, but this is just getting us a ballpark for a depth. So right there, and then to go to the flow line of the pipe, which is, we're going to put it back the way it was. If we get it a little bit deeper, that'd be ideal, just so that way the frost is less likely to pick it up. But we don't want to break the pipe, or break the power wire rather. So to get an idea on where it's at, before we start hand digging it, I'm going to take my laser, set on the grade over there, and the tape measure, send the tape down to the flow line, and see if I can't pick up that beam. And I'm roughly at 2 feet down to the flow line. So that's telling me from flow line here, the communications and the power are roughly 1 foot down. We'll excavate this out and then hand locate it, put the inlet of the pipe down as much as we can go. Still make sure we have a buffer over the top of both of those utilities there. One way to do this in this situation, if you didn't have a laser is a little bit unnecessary here, because you could do it with a 4 foot level. You know, we know that we located it here. We located the wire here. It said it was 3 foot down at this mark here roughly. Our CBYD people put the paint marks on there. We found it ourselves too. You can set the level to level here. It's the same thing as the laser. It's the same thing as the laser. And you'll have the same reading at level, just shy of 2 foot. Alright, so that's how you do it with a laser, that's how you do it with a level, and the next step will be to get this cleared out and do a little hand locating. Alright, here's our pipe layout after we got everything all set with the wires, trying to figure out our height that we could be at with the pipe. On this side we have catch basin. I know we could always tie the pipe into the catch basin. I know that's an option, but every single house here that you can see, they all have these drainage pipes. You want to take a look over there? It's the way it's done. Right into the catch basin. That being said, we're replacing this galvanized pipe where the bottom of it is just about rotten out. And it's a smart thing to do before you replace the driveway. We got some offset stakes in, 12 foot off the gutter line this way and 10 foot off the end of the pipe here. Another one is set up on that side over there. Replacing this pipe here, this catch basin top is our fixed point. So that being said, we're going to set a laser on top of this basin top here. And we're going to catch this grade right here. Catch basin height. Come over here and check this out. Catch basin height right here. Now our pipe is about roughly 5 foot away. We want a little bit of pitch so when leaves and whatnot build up, you know, the pipe, any water that flows out of the pipe will still flow. It's still going to have to be maintained and taken care of. But that aside, we want to make sure we got pitch from the basin top, from the flow line to the basin top. So what we'll do is we'll move this receiver down 2 inches, which I already marked on the side of the rod here, the flow line. I just like to write it on the side, that way I can remember where everything is, and if I want to take a measurement, I can measure it right here. So I got 2 inches here to flow line. I'll pick up the rod now, and as you can see, I've got roughly 2 inches underneath the rod. Alright, so that's going to be my height for flow line here. The reason why I'm getting this now is because I'm going to put an offset on that stake of 1 foot up from this so I can find it when we're digging the trench when the machine gets here. Side note, I got the laser set up here and the stake set up here because the machine will most likely dig this from the top up. It's not really typical where you want to dig downhill in the excavator. So always make sure when you're doing your offset stakes, you set them back far enough so you're out of the operator's way. And when you do set up your laser, make sure that's plenty out of the way, because eventually we're going to put that thing on slope, and we want to make sure we do it one time and not four or five times. All right? So now we'll come up here where it gets a little bit tricky. This is where we want to make sure we're coming over the top of these wires. They might be a little bit underneath the pipe, they might be off to the side of the pipe. That being said, we still have some fixed points that we have to meet. That catch basin top needs to be met. We're not changing the height of that catch basin top. So, that being said, this is a 20-foot pipe, and in a 20-foot run, we're going to go for 1.5% slope. So to get a 1.5% slope, we already have our flow line here that we found at that end, 1.5%. This rod is in inches. I've got a tenths and inches tape measure. So now what I'm going to do is just measure down from where the receiver is. I know I got to get a new tape, and measure down to this 3/10 mark here, which looks like it's just about at 9 1/4. I already marked this, because we had to do a little dry run before we made the video. This will be our upper flow line. And you say, hey, he's going uphill, why didn't he move it up? Well, think about it. When you move your receiver down, you pick the end of the rod up. So it might be hard to tell in the video, but this whole hill pitches down like this, and we need to maintain that. So all the water from these ditches keeps on flowing out and through. One more thing that I just thought of why you wouldn't want to hook up to that catch basin there is because, look at this. This is fall in New England. Look at all the crap that you got on the ground here. All these leaves, debris. Look at this little pipe right here. It's all going to go into the pipe at some point. It will most likely need to be cleaned again. We're going to make sure we stone this, make it nice when we leave. But at the end of the day, a drainage ditch requires maintenance, period. So if we tied that pipe into the basin, where's all that debris going to go? That being said, you can clean it out now. It's open on top. That's why we're doing it the way we are doing it. One thing that we want to check now is our top of pipe. So now that we have our flow line, we're going to go over to our pipe that we have right here. It's ready to go. 15-inch pipe, inside diameter. The outside diameter is always a little bit bigger, but now we want to see where the top of the pipe would be. So I'm going to measure from the inside right here to the rough top, which is roughly, what would you say that is, K1? Like 1 foot, yep. 4.5 inches?
Yep.
All right, so 1 foot, 4.5 inches. Now I'll come on my rod and measure down 1 foot, 4.5 inches, which is roughly 3 foot, 4.5 inches right there. If I move this down, I pick it up, correct? All right, so now we will see where the top of our pipe is going to be. And you'll see in a minute here why we are checking that. So this is our top of pipe. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're putting in a driveway. We're replacing the pipe before we do the driveway, so it doesn't have to get done after. That being said, we want to see where the top of that pipe is going to fall. So this is roughly where we're going to be at, which is very similar to the height of the existing pipe here, as you can see. About, what do we call that, like 1 inch above it. So let's take a little rock here, put it on top. This is going to be our new top of pipe. Now what I want to check, the reason why we're doing this, is our coverage that we're going to have over the top of the pipe to our future driveway height. As you can see here, we already have it laid out. We got a string line set up. This is our future asphalt grade. We're picking the grade of this asphalt up a little bit more so we get more coverage over the top of the pipe. Ideally, like at a minimum, I'd say you'd want 15 inches of coverage from the top of the asphalt down, top of asphalt to top of pipe. We put in 2.5 inches of asphalt compacted, and then, that leaves you whatever the remainder would be, 11.5 for gravel. Or in process, we want to make sure we have 4 to 6 inches of stone on top of the pipe, and then the rest of it gravel. That being said, now we're going to check and see how much coverage we have at the top of this pipe, make sure we can get that material to give it a cushion and that sort of thing. So I'm just taking my level here. We don't have to be accurate to like the 1/4 inch, 1/16 of an inch. It's really not super critical here. This is just giving us an idea of where we're going to be at, make sure we're going to do it right. And it looks like I've got about 1 foot, 6 inches to the top of our future pipe. that we're going to install here. So 18 inches of coverage is good. That being said, Jacob, why can't you put the pipe lower to get 20 inches of coverage? Good question. You got to remember what our fixed point is here. Our fixed point is that catch basin. Our flow line cannot be below that catch basin. So I need to make sure this end of the pipe is up high enough so all the water that comes out of this ditch here goes into the beginning of the pipe, flows all the way down to the outlet there, and then when it hits the outlet, make sure it still has pitch from that outlet flow line to the catch basin top. So I think we're all set here. Right now I'll put some offsets on these stakes, get this all set so that way when the machine comes down here, the machine is ready to dig. We're not trying to figure out where we got to be at for grade, and we'll be able to stay right on top of this. One thing I didn't mention is the wires. As you'll see in the video a little earlier, we were trying to locate these wires. Well, not trying. We located these wires with our wire locator, and from this grade right here, it said that our wire depth was 1 foot down. With the buffer, with keeping this pipe similar to the way it is now, it will be about 2 to 3 inches lower, the bottom flow line, than what it is existing, just because that pipe is a little larger because it's the ADS black pipe and this is galvanized pipe. The outside diameter is a little bit bigger on the new ADS. We want to make sure we have a little bit more cushion underneath that power wire when we go through. So we're going to put stone underneath this pipe for the pipe bed, 4 to 6 inches of stone, and we just don't want to mess with the power cable. So we should be in good shape. We will hand locate these wires before we start digging. That's all I got. Rocks, first thing. We can set them back up after the pipe is installed. Set up for success. Now that we're digging it, we got our laser set on slope right now. K1 is checking for grade. The rod is set 6 inches below the flow line of the pipe, so we have enough room for stone at the bottom of our pipe bed. And we're gonna work our way towards where the wires are. That way we can locate them. They go right through here. We'll work from the low side to the high side in that case. We got another truck coming with stone. Stone will back right in here, dump it right out of the truck, get our stone bed squared away, and we'll be in good shape. So remember, when you're working with your operators, you want to give them a line, a center line like that was just there. He scooped out with the trench. You know, he's sitting up on top right there, as he should, and it can be hard to see where the center of the pipe's got to go. So every now and again, you line yourself up with the grade stake back here. If you had to pull a string line, you could. Make sure he's always digging that trench dead center. Make your life a lot easier. Now we hand dig. All right. We've done our hand digging now. You can see the wire down in the hole here. Direct burial, as we suspected. And that's right on top of it. Yeah, 17 feet, that ain't right. I think once we get a little bit too close to it, it's not accurate. But yeah, 7 inches, that's about what I got from the end of the tool to the wire there. Nate just stuck it with a rod. It's all good. We know where the wire is. We're clear to dig and get this thing finished up. No burial tape, no burial sand here. This is why it's important to hand dig whenever you can, wherever you know there's utilities, so you can find it and not hit it, not knock out the power. That's what we got. Little uLocate tool coming in handy. Trench bed is set. We checked it with the laser and the level. Now we lay the pipe. Bell end up, and we'll put the green on top after we layer in. Pipe is laid. Driveway is getting continued. Dig out is continuing rather. Loading out the trucks. Everything is as it should be. Got a nice way here. Gotta clean that swale area up a little bit so all that water flows into the drain. And we'll be in good shape. And out with the old. Driveway is boxed out, ready for gravel. Gonna push some of that high stuff down up there on top of it. Get the stone pushed back where it's gotta go. Get out of here before dark. When you're on the ground working with your operator to help him out, he's placing all these stones now. You gotta give him a couple lines. Spray paint that edge of the driveway so that way when he's pulling all the stones up to the edge, he knows where to go. That way you can see this one's gotta go back a little bit. This is our driveway edge right here. That's how you help him out. End of the day. Pipe is in. A little bit of cleanup work to do, but it's just about there. Ran a little dry on gravel, but we'll button it up tomorrow. I got the wall in, fueling up the machine for tomorrow, getting her all greased up. Set the day up for success. All good.